when you go to China and you've never eaten cat, it would probably be a strange experience to eat cat. It's greasy, man.
Particularly if you knew you were doing it.
I didn't know it was greasy.
Oh, you have done it. What's it taste like?
I had it
Chicken?
in Greece. It's stringy, and it tastes like old jerky.
Mm. No, I can imagine.
So not pleasant.
Oh, it's not pleasant at all. I wouldn't recommend eating it ever. We already all know what PTSD does.
Yeah.
But that is a constant effect throughout history. We can track that through almost any war. So that's just one of those things that happens to
And
people.
you
that are
know,
traumatized.
that's kind of interesting when you say it's throughout history, because it hasn't really been officially recognized until recently, has it?
Not officially recognized, but like most mental diseases, we can track mental disorders
Oh,
throughout
yeah.
history from the behavior.
No, I'm not saying it didn't exist, it's just a fact that we've only officially recognized it.
The military still doesn't, as far as I know.
Oh, technically they
They
do.
do, just at
They-
much lower rates than it should be diagnosed in people who are in the military.
They will not recognize responsibility.
No, they won't. And that's how I lost a friend of mine.
They only recognize that it exists and that some of the people suffer from it. They never take responsibility for
He
it.
was 24.
Because if they took official responsibility, they'd have to pay for every case. And I was in the Army, and that's what I was told in basic training. It was like, we don't recognize in PTSD, shell shock, whatever you want to call it, we do not recognize
Well,
it.
so they officially told you that.
Oh, yeah. In basic. Just like, hey, go to a press. You're not going to hear them. They don't really care. Okay, cognitive processes. Anyone know what cognitive is? Things that affect our conscious thought.
Feelings. When I'm hungry, I think about finding food.
Well, these are things that automatically affect it. That would be a reaction to stimulus. Perception is one. Perception is my reality from your point of view. Okay, how you perceive something, which is subjective interpretation of internal, external stimulus data. Okay. Kind of specific, but the point being is that everything you perceive is filtered through all of the information you've had before. So say if you have an aversion to cats, you go to watch a movie and there's cats in it. You're going to perceive that through that filter, and you're going to dislike the movie, or have some dislike about the movie, or possibly have some dislike the movie, because you dislike cats in general.
Does that happen now that you've eaten cat?
No, not really. My daughter has a cat.
See, the interesting thing about that.
I do threaten to fry up the cat though every so often, but
I hear it with my guinea pigs. My boyfriend wants to eat tacos.
See, the interesting thing about that, that if we're genetically, we're equipped with the ability to perceive.
yes.
And then, if what we perceive to be significant is determined by what we've learned, you know, the unique circumstances of our life over which we have no control. We certainly didn't have control of our genes. Well, then you end up with what we perceive as reality is not under our control.
No, what we perceive is not under our control. How we view things, we can't
And you
control.
see, that gets back to the original sin.
We can control what we think about our perceptions. If we know our perceptions are subjective, if you know something is being filtered or is subjective, you can rationally make it objective. Okay, we know that 2 + 2 equals 4. Okay, there's no case anywhere where 2 + 2 will not equal 4.
Yeah.
That's proof of objectivity. Okay, once we set standards, when you set standards for something, you're making an objective list of, okay, it has to meet these standards, these qualifications, or it's not objective.
Well, you know, a real interesting thing's going on in politics right now. We had a Supreme Court guy pass away who interpreted,
I mean, poor man.
who interpreted the Constitution as the absolute law. And now we have all the people who apparently believe in that saying that the president should not
Well, they also have
So
a
from
really
a
rich
rational point of
constitution.
view, from a rational point of view, the whole thing, 2 plus 2 isn't equal 4. But that don't affect how anyone believes.
Oh, you can believe the world has a teacup surrounding it, and that everything you see is observed through the teacup. That's my take on this. But that doesn't make it true.
Yeah. Well, it's just a point out.
Oh, no, I understand, and that's a dangerous problem that
And
we're
the
having.
weird thing about it is,
Neil Tyson was quoted as saying we have a dramatic increase in anti-intellectualism in the country that is devastating our society.
and you see, the weird thing about it, if I was one of those guys with their genetic structure and had their learning background, well, then I'd be one of them.
Oh, yeah.
I'd be one of the people that I'm thinking, pretty weird.
Yeah. Attention to prioritizing of incoming data. How will you determine what's important and what's not? And when your mind becomes flawed and you have problems determining value, usually it's a problem with your attention. Storing of data into general and specific data sets is something I touched on earlier with memory. Is we have general data. This is information that we keep as colors, shapes, like a door, seeing a door and recognizing that's a door. That's a general data set. Okay, that's general memory information. Then we have specific data, like that's Ezra. That's specifically Ezra. That will, we don't look at them and go, oh, that's some Caucasian in black hat. Okay? But that's the difference between the general and specific. And that's not something we can necessarily control. But it is a cognitive function for us. Category formation, assigning new data to prior understanding. Okay? You come up to a door. It doesn't have a handle. And you're standing there and you're, I don't know how to open up the door. And you get closer and poof, it opens up. You're like, whoa, okay, this has never happened before. You walk up and it closes, and you walk up and it opens up again. And you're like, I've actually seen, you see kids do this where they walk up to the doors at the automatic doors, and they'll stick their hands up and they'll see the doors open and they'll back away. That's basically what they're doing. Altering the general data in their minds. Thanks to our cognitive processes, we're able to do that rather efficiently. Judgment, generating finalized data assessments. This is part of attention in that it's saying, okay, is this positive, is this negative, positive, negative, should we forget this or remember it? Is this a threat? Is it not a threat? Okay. These are all things that are universals within humankind. And that's the only things that we can stick with. Anything else could be cultural or regional reference. Okay. Reasoning, providing rationalizations for observed data and its effects, which fit into pre-existing understandings, which is something that you mentioned earlier. Remember rationalizing the story? What's the Catholic Church stance on, anybody know their stance on the Adam and Eve story? It's a metaphor.
Yeah, is that true? The official Catholic Church is?
Yep. They officially stand that it's a metaphor.
And that's always been, or did they do that?
No, no.
Okay, now I understand.
Okay, they used to think that everything rotated around the earth.
Yeah.
Galileo, wait for that. When he said, or Copernicus, sorry. No, you're right. Copernicus. But, when he said, no, we orbit around the sun, they were like, okay, yeah, you're going away. Because the Bible says everything orbits around us. And the Bible is 100% correct all the time.
Yeah, and you know, and the reason they felt that, I think, see, this is all good intention. Because the Bible was the law of the land. And if the Bible wasn't right, then there's no law of the land.
Exactly.
Well, there was deeper things behind the whole Galileo thing, like, a lot of that had to do with the fact that he was going against what they were teaching, and the Dominican order, part of the Catholic Church, had a monopoly on education,
Oh, yeah.
and they threw him
That
away
has to do
because
with
he was like.
France,
Totally threw him away.
the education centers in France,
Yeah.
which I really like that part of history, the beginning of the Reformation and the Renaissance.
It's good. All the bad things of Catholicism.
Well, it was also the beginning of the Inquisition. The religions attempt to keep the standard. The Inquisition was a societal stabilizing mechanism, which I'll get into later. Problem solving. Taking a negative stimulus and attempting to alter it into a positive stimulus. I got a quick question for you. Has anyone ever heard "It's God's will"?
Yes.
Or "It's in God's plan"? You're taking a negative stimulus
Oh, yeah.
and you're transitioning it into a positive stimulus.
There's a reason for it.
Yes,
There's a reason. Yes.
that's basically what that is in religion. You're taking a negative stimulus
Oh, yeah.
and you're transitioning it into a positive stimulus.
There's a reason for it.
Yes,
There's a reason. Yes.
that's basically what that is in religion. Okay? Problem solving. It allows us to take a negative and make it a positive, spin it. Okay? Language. I think we all know. If you don't know the languages, I recommend a preschool my daughter attends.
How did we get here?
Perception. But the end result is how we see everything. All this forms up into how we see the world. Is it a vase or is it two dudes? Or two chicks? It all depends on what we're looking at, how we see the world. It will affect everything in how we interpret what we see, how we lay it out, how we play it out. Whether or not we see a god throwing lightning bolts or a bunch of electrical ions connecting with the ground source. Groupthink is one of the biggest sources for religion. Does anybody not know what groupthink is?
Well, I guess it's a tendency for people to try to cooperate. All
Illusion of
be on the
invulnerability.
same story.
Illusion of invulnerability. You think that your ideas are true. Absolutely true. They are unassailable. Okay? Collective rationalization. Members discount warnings. Do not reconsider their options. Once you're in the in-group, everyone in your in-group, if someone warns someone from your outside your in-group, they're wrong. They're automatically wrong. You're right. Period. Belief in inherent morality. Everyone in the in-group knows what to do, knows the best thing to do. I think the best person who personifies groupthink right now would be Trump.
Say that again?
Trump.
Oh.
Trump is his own groupthink. And everyone, and most of his supporters are suffering from that one problem right there, is belief in inherent morality. Stereotyped views of outgroups. Like I said, Trump is a very good example of this right now. Negative views of enemy, more effective responses. Basically, dehumanization. They try to make the other peer population, the outgroup, whoever it is, whether it's you're not Americans, or you're not Catholic, or you're not Cardinals. Whatever it is, the outgroup, they dehumanize them because it makes it easier for people to hate them and ignore them. Especially if they have counter information. Like, I don't know, evolution.